Bum. It's your boy Big Vern. It's the bottom of the hour. Y'all rocking with the best. I know, that's why y'all here. Before we get into it, we're gonna hit you with a rap break. Y'all know how we do. Give me a bum. It's your boy Big Vern coming to you live from the App Stupid Studios. We got another rap album we pushing this month. J.I.D. GDLU The Prelux EP in stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it be Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. My personal favorites on the track is Behold and Lisa's. Wow, that whole track is crazy. And then New Better and Eminem and Animals Part 2. That is so bar heavy. It will blow your mind. I cannot wait for the new JID to drop, but I will take JDLU The Prelux right now because it's probably one of the best projects this summer. Make sure you go get it. Shout out to JID. Make sure y'all go get The Prelux. That's a dope one. So, just like I said, make sure y'all also check out the Ben Macklemore. We just went ahead and dropped that one here in the bottom of the hour. I want to go ahead and ask this question really about the Seattle Seahawks. How good are they? Now, one thing that stands out to me about the Seahawks, they let DK Metcalf go to Pittsburgh. They also fired a 10-win offensive coordinator in Mr. Ryan Grubb, and they waived Tyler Lockett. That's a lot of loss. Now, they did pick up Jalen Milroe in the draft, and he's going to be a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for. He just needs time to develop. Mike McDonald, he's in his second year, and was he brought in to oversee a rebuild? Because it looks like that's what they were doing last year. They were actually shedding a lot of pieces, and Geno Smith is now playing in Vegas. So look at the wide receiver room. Cooper Kupp, he's an instant game changer. Then there's Jake Bobo and Jackson Smith and Njabba. Now Jackson is coming off a 1,130-yard game and 6 TDs. This is the second-year man out of Ohio State, the Ohio State. And he's proven that he's worth his salt at the next level. Bobo, he's a slot receiver, 107 yards, 13 grabs, 1 touchdown. And that was last year. And those are good numbers for a definite second. However, they need a big dog. And if Jackson's going to be the big dog, okay. But Kupp, he's established. And you got to account for Kupp in that offense. You have to account for Kupp in that offense, whether he's going to beat you over the middle or whether he's going to beat you over the top. I mean, you've got to keep your eyes on him because he can just flat out burn you. Doesn't matter what route you pick up, Kupp's like that. However, I can see them going at it because last year Kupp had 710 yards and 6 touchdowns and 67 grabs. Yeah. Like I said, he does all those things right. He's that kind of wide receiver. And how good are they? I just don't know. But when you look at the running back room, Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet. Now, Walker, he had 578 yards on the season with 153 attempts and 7 touchdowns. Now, at first, when you look at the stat line, you're like, that dude has got to step up. But when you find out later why he's struggling, that 578 yards is an achievement. Yeah, it's an achievement. Charbonnet, he had 569 yards on 135 attempts and 8 touchdowns. So it's a steady 1-2 punch. Again, with what these two brothers had to work with, I'm amazed they got that far. And with the 6th-round pick of Damian Montez out of Miami, they look to make an impact in that NFC West. Now, what did they get in free agency? Because that's how you're looking at it, because they let Geno Smith go. Like I said, DK Metcalf, they let him go. They traded him away to Pittsburgh, and then they waived Tyler Lockett. So this was all them grading free agency and then dipping their toes into the draft to see what they can come up with. And they came back with Sam Darnold. As a crash test dummy, I'm not mad at that. If you want to go ahead and bring Jalen Milroe along and make sure that his maturation process is okay, I'm cool with Sam Darnold being the crash test dummy on that one. The wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, offensive lineman, Josh Jones, linebacker Ernest Jones IV, defensive tackle, Jaron Reed, wide receiver, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and defensive end, DeMarcus Lawrence. Now, he's out of Dallas. And him and Micah Parsons had a back and forth in the media. It was, I don't know, it's just mean girl stuff like, meh. Anyway, they also re-signed their cornerback, Josh Jobe. Now, the key acquisitions they need to stay competitive in the NFC West, and it's hard to quantify how a 10-win team didn't get a sniff at the postseason, a retooling in the draft, and both in free agency could be a big break that they needed. And they are projected to have a significant amount of cap space, around $31 million, which is very, like I said, which is very comfortable for the group of guys that they have. And so you start to see, okay, if this is a rebuild, not only do they have a good mix of veterans, they also have a great chemistry of young guys, and they can bring young guys in. Mike McDonald is really a second-year college coach. He was the defensive guy at Michigan under Jim Harbaugh. So you can see he's kind of putting his imprint on this team and making them very physical. Now, what did they get in the draft? Again, they had 11 players out of the draft in 2025. First round, they went after Gray Zabiel, offensive guard from North Dakota State. They also drafted the safety Nick Amari in the second round, tight end Elijah Arroyo. And also in the second round, they picked up Jalen Milroe in the third round, defensive lineman Riley Mills. They picked him up in the fifth round. Wide receiver Torrey Holton. They got him also in the fifth round. Fullback Robbie Outs. They got him as well in that fifth round. Offensive guard Bryce Kadubi. And in the sixth round, they took the running back, Mr. Damian Montez. We already talked about that running back room. He's coming out of the U. It's going to be a really good experience for him. The seventh round, they took another tackle, Mr. Mason Richmond, and they took a wide receiver late in that seventh round, Mr. Ricky White III. So you can see where they wanted to go ahead and cut their teeth. They was getting tight ends, quarterbacks, fullbacks, wide receivers, running backs. Again, totally different from the Dallas situation, which Seattle had a clear theme, and it looks like they got sneaky good, but it looks like they went and stocked up on every position they needed. They're under the cap. It's very healthy. Look, we're going to go ahead and talk about the O-line and the D-line when we get back from the break. It's your boy, Big Bird. Give me a beat. It's your boy Big Vern coming to you from the Absolute Studios with a new rap album we promoting this month. Nick Grant, I Took It Personal. In stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it's Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. My personal favorites on the LP is Let It Rain, Read Your Contract, Big Timers, The Ritual, Back Home, Product Dealer, User. Man, that song right there, that's one of them ones. I was listening to it like, who the hell is Nick Grant? Homie got bars, homie got metaphors, deliveries, double entendres. Yo, what you looking for? He got it. Something to say, that's another good one. And it ain't personal. Yeah, Nick Grant is playing no games. I Took It Personal by Nick Grant. In stores now. Shout out to Nick Grant. I Took It Personal. Make sure y'all go get the project. It's pretty dope. That's why we pushing it. This weekend, Clips comes out. Yeah. Pusha T. And oh my goodness. Yeah, that comes out this weekend. And should be a good weekend for rap. So before we left off on the other side of the break, we were talking about the O-line and the D-line. Start with the offense first. The O-line, one of the worst in the NFL. Not going to go ahead and sugarcoat that. 30th out of 32 teams. That is beyond pitiful. So no matter who you have at quarterback, it's going to be hard for anybody to look good if you can't block somebody and stop them from getting sacked. I don't care who you got out there at wide receiver. If you can't block to protect the quarterback in the pocket so he can throw the ball, that's just not gonna work. That's just not gonna work. In 2025, the Seahawks, they rank offensively at 23rd in the league. They are 18th in points scored per game. To add more fuel to the fire, they are 28th in rushing per game. This may be the first for me, but I'm truly speechless. I had no clue that the Seahawks were this bad. At some point, why charge admission to watch games like this? I mean, you're sending the wrong message to the fans when the product is this bad. And it's almost like Coach K would say, sometimes a win covers up a bad performance. And that may be true in the case of the Seahawks, because looking at those numbers and those stats, well, only thing you can deduce from that is that they were a very bad team. They just had a favorable schedule that knocked off in their corner. Now, defense, that kept them alive. The defense, 12th in scoring 21.6 points per game. The passing defense, that landed them 11th. They ranked 16th against the run. Much more disciplined group within the results they produced. But they lost a bevy of guys like defensive tackle Roy Robertson Harris, the linebacker, Dremont Jones, in which they released him in early March, along with the safety Rayshawn Jenkins and the tackle George Fant, defensive end TJ Jackson, and the linebacker, Michael Dowell. They released him in May. So whatever success they built last year, they lost to free agency this year. And so that's going to make the defensive coordinator's job very hard, but the offensive coordinator, his job is very hard as well, which is Clint Kubiak. Now they hired him back in January to take over for Ryan Grubb. Kubiak is a lifer. Now he was the Vikings 2021 and New Orleans 2024 offensive coordinator. He promises a smart, balanced, physical offense. The weird part about that was, Clint said when he came to Seattle for Geno Smith. Now, Clint, I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out here. If you thought that you were happy to see Geno Smith and you couldn't wait to work with him, I know you got to be feeling like right now it's a bait and switch, because you got Sam Darnold and you didn't come to Seattle for Sam Darnold. Your words, not mine. So you got to be feeling like there's a bait and switch. But was it a bait and switch or on the fans as well? Because in 2024, New Orleans ranked in offense overall 21st. Yikes. And 23rd in passing offense, 25th in scoring offense, and 14th in rushing yards. Don't let Alvin Kamara sell you a hype train. That guy can flat out ball. But I'm not pretty much sold on Mr. Kubiak. I don't care. Clint Kubiak, I don't care, bro. Your work speaks for itself. And you having all of these rankings that didn't mean a thing, and now you were talking about, I was happy to work with Geno Smith. That's why I came here. Well, he's in Vegas. So I don't know if you're going to fold up tent and you're just going to go ahead and sit this year out. I don't know what the Seattle Seahawks look like, but how good are they? How good? They have the potential. They have the potential. They have the identity. They have everything in place. I just don't know how good they'll be. Again, if you're McDonald and this doesn't work, are you already on the hot seat? Because you fired a 10-win coach in Ryan Group. You got rid of him as the offensive coordinator, and you went after somebody who's probably never won 10 games. And if it doesn't work, is McDonald automatically on the hot seat? And he has to be, because they've given you all of the talent that you're going to get. Now, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, Aiden Drude, he is the defensive coordinator. He replaced Clint Hurt in February of 2024. Now, he's an old Cowboys O-line coach, so McDonald hired him. He knew the deficiencies in the Seahawks game, and then he got out in front of it, and kudos to them. Now, his staff is a who's who. There's Justin Hines, defensive line coach. There's Kirk O'Diddy, and he's the linebackers coach. There's Chris Partridge. He's the outside linebackers coach. And then you've got Josh Bynes, the defensive assistant / linebackers coach. Jeff Howard, he works with the safeties. And Carl Scott, defensive passing game coordinator and defensive backs. So there's a wealth of knowledge in that booth and in the front office. And so what does the season look like for the Seahawks? What does the season look like for the Seahawks? Tell you what, we'll talk about it on the other side of the break. It's your boy Big Vern. Give me a beat. It's your boy Big Vern. Come on now, you know how we do it. New R&B album out, Coco Jones, Why Not More, extended version in stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it be Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. My personal favorites on the track is Taste. That song gonna get you in a lot of trouble, for real, fellas. That's one of them late nights. That's one of them late night done it. AE, oh my God, is wild too. Trust me. If you ain't ready, then don't put that one on. That's grown folk music right there. Thing for you, it's a real record too. Look, 90% of women do and feel the way she sings in that song. Listen, that's a real record. Other Side of Love, that's another deep record. Cause man, she be singing about some real situations. Go get the album, man. Coco Jones, Why Not More, in stores now. Shout out to Coco Jones doing her thing. Man, Coco Jones is fine as hell, bro. Why not more, baby? Why not more? Jesus Christ. So when we last left off on the other side of the content, we were talking about the predictions for Seattle Seahawks. Now, the opener on September the 7th, they open against the 49ers. That's going to be a loss. I think Robert Saleh back with Shanahan to rekindle some of that magic, especially when they're promising violence. Kerry Kittles is saying violence is back in the room. I think they're going to go ahead and live up to that in that game. Then they play the Steelers on the 14th. They're going to beat the Steelers. Then on the 21st, they play the Saints. I don't really give the Saints much of a chance until they put Tyler Shaw, the rookie, in from Louisville. I know Derek Carr, he up and quit, so Tyler's going to be 3 games into his pro career, so we'll see how that goes. And then they will play the Cardinals. They will beat them. So when you look at the month of September, they could really be 3-1. They could be 3-1 heading into October, and that bodes well for the Seahawks. They're going to lose to the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are just a better team than them. And then on the 12th of October, they'll play the Jaguars. Followed up on the 20th, they'll play the Texans. They can win both of those games, but I have them actually winning against the Jaguars and losing to the Texans. They'll hit the bye week, and then they'll come back on November the 2nd against the Commanders. The 9th of November, they'll play the Cardinals. They will win that game. They will lose to the Rams. They usually go 1-1 with the Rams. Anyway, November the 23rd, they'll beat the Titans. They'll beat the Vikings by November the 30th. And it seems like I'm actually shitting on the Vikings. I'm really not. There's just too many question marks out there for me with them. They will lose to the Falcons. I think Raheem Brock and Michael Penix Jr. may have figured that thing out. And they could be a well-oiled machine down the stretch. We'll go ahead and pre-cap them. They will beat the Colts because the Colts are in a perpetual rebuild and they're an abject failure. They will win against the Rams in the rematch December the 18th. They'll beat the Panthers 2 days after Christmas on the 27th. And then I got them going 1-1 with the 49ers. So they'll win the season ender. And by that time, San Francisco, pretty much they'll know if they've clinched the a playoff berth or a wild card by then. So they may just be resting their guys. So at first glance, I gave them 11-6. But on a practical scale, they could be 8-9. They could be 8-9. So if you are a Seahawks fan, you know the drill. Again, if you are listening to this pod, get in the comments. Let us know that we get it right. What did we leave out? This is Big Vern. We talk back. We'll be back. We'll be back. Top of the hour. This is your boy Big Vern at App Stupid.